It's Joe here. I'm here to bring you another video for Through the Craft Room Door magazine, an online publication by Colleen Holmes. Today, we have a fun project for you that can be used for your home decor, or you could actually give them as gifts for other people's home decor. Let me go ahead and show you a sample of what I have already done, and then I'll show you what project we're going to be doing. Now, I'm going to lay these out side by side. They're really meant to be sitting up. But in order to get them on camera so that you can see them, we will put them this way. As you can see, it spells out thanks. And my intention is to put this, and I will show pictures at the end with how I'm going to display it, but I'm going to be using fall leaves, fall decor. Just to spell out thanks, I thought it would be really pretty, especially like on a table for your Thanksgiving dinner, anything like that. Now, you're probably looking at these going, okay, thanks, but think of all the possibilities. You can do Christmas. You could do your child's name and put around a display of pictures. You could do someone's last name along with the date they were married, or just even their last name. Anything you want. The possibilities are kind of endless with this. It's just a really fun project. It doesn't take a long time. And you can actually use a lot of scraps and recyclables. So with that said, let me go ahead and pull these out of the way. And I'm going to show you the items we will need in order to do this. Now, the main item that you're going to be needing is some sort of a wood block. I say wood, doesn't necessarily have to be wood. I mean, if you can find a paper mache block or if you can make a cardboard block, I would recommend something a little heavier because you do want them to sit up unless you're going to mount them on something. So what I'm using is a block that is from a stamp set that is sold by some of the home parties. And I had a few, but it wasn't enough to make these projects. Well, a friend of mine who also has a ton of these blocks, and it's because we use unmounted stamps because I don't have any room, and I know she doesn't either, for actual wood mounted stamps as far as storage, where with the unmounteds you're decreasing the size, so believe me, you can get a lot more in a small space. She brought me a ton of these blocks. Great. I was like thrilled. As you can see, you want them to have a little bit of width to them because you want them to stand up without falling over, at the slight shake. And you can either leave these natural or you can color them with either an acrylic paint or a stain. What I have used is I've just used an acrylic paint. These are something that you can get for, like 2 for $1 when they're on sale at your local stores. I've also used an extender for acrylic paint. What that allows you to do is it makes it more transparent, gives you a little more working time, and I actually even go one step further. Once I apply the paint to the block, which you'll need a sponge brush or some sort of a brush, I would go ahead and brush on my color. Then I take a paper towel and wipe it right away because what I'm looking for is more of a stain-like look. You may like the acrylic paint look and then you might want to sand it a little bit to give it a little more distress. It's all preference, completely up to you. Okay, so that's some of the items you're going to need. Excuse my arm. You're going to need a good adhesive. And adhesive, I would recommend a liquid adhesive. I like the Tombow Mono Multi because of 2 reasons. One of the reasons is because of the multiple tips on it, and you'll see why when we get into actually putting a project together, why that's kind of important. But I also like the fact that it gives you a little bit of leeway as far as being able to still move your pieces around if you need to straighten them up. You could use the Scotch Quick Dry, but you would also need to be fast and accurate. And since sometimes that's not always in my book, especially trying to make a video, we're going to go with the Tombow Mono Multi. I just like the application of it. You will need some decorative patterned paper. And I'm going to be using the Bo Bunny Father Christmas collection. So obviously you can tell we're going to be doing a Christmas project. And this is actually a really great way to use up all your scraps. Great way to do that. So make sure you're saving your scraps when you're doing your other paper projects. And you're going to need some kind of a cutting surface or a cutting tool like a I don't know, a Fisker's cutter or something like that. I used my scoreboard mat or score buddy mat, my X-Acto knife, and a ruler. So, and I also am using the little tiny tweezers just to help when I get ready to lay the project down and put the glue, with the glue. Then I'm using a distress pad. I'm using Vintage Photo and a distressing tool. It's all up to your preference. If you want to use something like this, you can. Then the other thing you're going to need to do is you're going to need to have some way of creating a letter or a die cut. I'm using a slice machine. You could use a Cameo, I'm sure Cricuts, whatever you would have. You could even print them out on paper and cut them out. Or you could even use a stencil. Stencil might be a little bit more difficult and maybe a little messier, but if you do use a stencil, you want to make sure you find a very opaque paint, and you'll probably want to give it a couple coats. So with that, I would definitely, if you have the die cuts, which many of us have some sort of a machine or an ability to make a die cut, I would do that because you're going to need something for the letter. Okay, let me get all this out of the way so we can get moving with our project. Now, here's what I have so far. I am doing Noel. So of course, when we add the L, we'll have it complete. I've also added a couple small little blocks for the edges. And as you can see, I've made them different sizes, where the thanks were generally the same size blocks. Okay, let's get these out of the way. Now, I have my block here that I've already, for time's sake, it's already been colored. And again, what I did, I just took the acrylic paint and the extender, brushed it on, took a paper towel, wiped it off, and I did that on all four sides, plus all four sides of the edge, plus the front and back. Now, you can choose to do your do it on each side as far as your letters and your pattern paper, or you can just do the one side. I've only done the one side because I'm not really going to have it showing, so it would be necessary for the other side. So we have our block ready, and what I've done is I've actually taken a measurement of my block both ways, and I've cut my pattern paper approximately 1/16 of an inch smaller. So I'll show you here. I just want a little bit of the green showing. I don't want a lot. Again, preference. You may want more green showing. You may not. It's up to you. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm bringing in my distress pad. I'm going to move my paper over here. I'm bringing in my distress pad, and I'm going to ink up my distressing tool because I want to put a little bit of distress color on my wood. So what I'm doing, I'm just you don't need a lot because since I've only went 1/16 of an inch, you're not going to need to go too far in. And it's kind of hard to see on the video as far as the color, but it is there. Okay, see, just a little bit. Okay, I'm going to lay that aside for a moment. Now I'm going to take my piece of pattern paper that I've cut out, and I'm going to do the exact same thing as far as distressing, just so it blends nice. This is, again, purely personal preference. You don't need to do this, or if you do, you may decide to choose a different color than what I'm using. All well and good. Sorry for the noise the paper's making, but okay. So there we go. Now I can put my ink away, get it out of the way so I don't end up with my fingers in it. Super easy. We've got the two pieces all distressed. Now what we want to do, and this is where I'm going to use my Tombow Mono multi-adhesive. I'm going to flip my paper over. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to make sure this is cleared off because sometimes it gets a little bit gummy. I'm going to take the wider end because I want to be able to spread this. Okay, one thing you want to do, make sure you don't have any little bits from your foam applicator laying around. Okay. And I'm just going to put a glob in there, and then I'm going to use the spreader to spread it out. And I want to try and get as close to the edge as possible because you don't want too much oozing, because no matter how much they say it dries clear, yes, but there's always a little bit of a sheen. So you want to be really careful with that. And I'm squeezing a little bit as I'm moving just so I can get enough on my... Now this one I'm not going to use my tweezers for, but when it comes to my letters, I use my tweezers. So let's see. And I'm going to lay this on here and hope I get it on evenly, but that's why I like this glue, because I have a little bit of playtime to move it around. I got it where I want. I'm just going to press it down. Because I don't put globs of glue, I'm not getting all that stuff coming out the side. There we have it. All done. Super easy. So now we're going to move on to our letter. Now this is where I'm going to end up turning around my mono multi-adhesive and using the fine tip. We'll move that up a little bit and get my letter here. And make sure you put the glue on the right side of the letter. You know how sometimes that doesn't always work when you are doing something. And I'm going to have my little tweezers stand by right here because I want to use them. Now the way I apply the adhesive, I'm going to put a little bit more for you, is I just do it in little dots, just because that way I don't get as much oozing. I'm sure you have your own method. You know, use what you're comfortable with. You might even want to practice a little bit on just some scrap. Okay, now I have my letter ready, and bringing my block in. Of course, I did this the opposite of what I would be as far as holding it. So now I'm just going to kind of eyeball it. If you want to actually go as far as breaking out your ruler and a pencil and measuring out, go for it. I'm happy with what I'm doing at these. I just brought my other ones over just to kind of look and see where I'm at, if I look about the even. And there we go. Done. That's how easy this is. It's super fast. Once you have all your materials cut out, it's such a fast project, it just zooms on by. So let me go ahead and lay out these. And O, the E, and the L. Isn't that fun? And wouldn't that really look great with like some holly leaves or a poinsettia sitting there? Or even like, you know how you get the poinsettias at Christmas time, and the little pots are usually kind of ugly and they have the funky foil on them. Just imagine putting these kind of around the pot. So it sort of kind of camouflages it. Be a great way to do it. Again, you can use these on your Christmas dinner table. Whatever you choose. All kinds of fun ways to use it. Hope that you will consider trying this project out. And remember, with Through the Craft Room Door, we have a gallery out there, and we'd love to see what you come up with. And also, don't forget, if you make a project and you submit it and it's used in the magazine, you will be put in for a drawing for a $25 gift certificate. So it's kind of a win-win situation. You get to try a project, and you could even try and enter it for it possibly being published in the magazine. Colleen does a wonderful job with this magazine, and she just keeps making it better and better. So I hope you've enjoyed my project today, and that you will try it for yourself and maybe make some gifts for people. Thanks for stopping by today, and have a great day, everyone.